For most bands, losing the wrong member is a death sentence. A frontman quits, a guitarist implodes, a singer gets fired. These 9 musicians didn't just fill a spot. They walked into collapsing bands, changed their future, and kept them alive. Stick around for a bonus where tragedy nearly ended everything. Number 9. Tommy Shaw, Styx. In December 1975, Styx guitarist and vocalist John Kuraleski quit just days after their album Equinox came out. The band had a national tour booked, tickets were already on sale, and suddenly they needed a replacement immediately. Their tour manager, Jim Vose, tracked down Tommy Shaw in Montgomery, Alabama, a working club musician playing with Harvest in a bowling alley lounge called Kegler's Cove. One major test was whether Shaw could handle Styx' high harmonies, the kind of vocal parts that made Lady their signature song. Once he proved he could, they gave him the albums and a set list of about 16 songs to learn with only 1 day of rehearsal. But Shaw did more than save the tour. He changed the band's energy. Before Shaw, Styx could be stiff on stage. Shaw wouldn't stand still, and suddenly the other members had to match him. But his songwriting was what really changed their future. Shaw wrote Fooling Yourself on The Grand Illusion. Then, on Pieces of 8, he wrote Blue Collar Man and Renegade, the album's 2 biggest hits. His hard rock instincts balanced Dennis DeYoung's theatrical pop side and gave Styx the edge they needed to become an arena act. The next musician joined a band that was questioning whether it should even exist. Number 8. Mickey Thomas, Jefferson Starship. Late 1970s, Jefferson Starship was in crisis mode. Grace Slick was gone, Marty Balin had left, and drummer John Barbata was out after a serious car crash. Mickey Thomas later remembered there really was a question about whether the band would try to continue. Thomas wasn't a superstar frontman when they called him. He had been a backing vocalist with the Elvin Bishop Group before singing lead on Fooled Around and Fell in Love. Now, Jefferson Starship needed that voice to carry an entire band. The first song the new lineup rehearsed and recorded was Jane. Jane didn't sound like the romantic Balin-led hits that had defined their mid-70s peak. It was harder, sharper, and built around Thomas's high-powered vocal attack. Jane became the calling card for the new Jefferson Starship, proving they could survive with a heavier pop-rock identity. Thomas gave the band a new center of gravity. The next band was circling the drain until a young man answered an ad and ended up writing the band's most iconic song. Number 7. Justin Hayward, The Moody Blues. My life will be forever immortal. The Moody Blues had a massive early hit with Go Now, but their follow-up singles failed to come close to that success. Original frontman Denny Lane and bassist Clint Warwick quit. Then their management situation collapsed, leaving the remaining members broke, in debt to Decca, and unsure what came next. Then, in 1966, 19-year-old Justin Hayward answered a Melody Maker ad placed by Eric Burton of The Animals. Burton passed Hayward's letter and demo discs to Moody Blues keyboardist Mike Pinder. Within days, Hayward had replaced Lane as the band's new guitarist and vocalist. Nights in white satin. He brought an introspective, melodic sensibility far from their R&B roots. When Decca asked them to record a stereo demonstration album built around Dvorak's New World Symphony, the Moodies quietly ignored the assignment and recorded their own material instead. The result was Days of Future Past, where Hayward's Tuesday Afternoon and Nights in White Satin were woven together with orchestral passages, arranged by Peter Knight and played by the London Festival Orchestra. That album transformed the Moody Blues into progressive rock pioneers. From a band fighting to survive, to a guitarist who kept Kiss alive after the makeup came off. Number 6, Bruce Kulick, Kiss. By 1984, Kiss had burned through 2 lead guitarists in 2 years. Vinnie Vincent was gone after the Lick It Up tour. Mark St. John played on Animalize, but a hand condition and deeper fit issues inside the band kept him from becoming the long-term answer. Enter Bruce Kulick. Kulick first came in as a temporary touring replacement on the Animalize tour, then became the band's official lead guitarist in December 1984. Gene later praised him. "We loved Bruce. He was always professional and showed up on time. Kulick brought 80s technique, but his roots were classic. Hendrix, Clapton, Page, Beck, and Eddie Van Halen. He modernized the guitar role without losing the Kiss foundation. He helped Kiss survive the no-makeup years, earning gold and platinum records without hiding behind the old costumes." From the guitarist who was rock steady for Kiss to the guitarist who kept a band alive long enough to become legends. Number 5. Bob Welch, Fleetwood Mac. Bob Welch didn't make Fleetwood Mac huge, but without him, the band may not have survived long enough for Buckingham and Nicks to arrive. By 1971, Peter Green was gone, Jeremy Spencer was gone, and Danny Kerwin would soon be fired. Into that chaos came Welch, the first American to join Fleetwood Mac, a guitarist and singer initially brought in on rhythm guitar to support Kerwin, but whose role grew until he became the bridge that carried the band through their strangest survival era. From 1971 to 1974, Welch helped hold the band together. On Mystery to Me alone, he wrote or co-wrote 7 of the 12 songs. Mick Fleetwood later credited Welch with saving Fleetwood Mac, saying a major period of the band's musical history was secured in his work. Welch pushed the group toward a more melodic, atmospheric sound. His song Hypnotized pointed toward the band's future. Then, Heroes Are Hard to Find became Fleetwood Mac's first album to reach the US Top 40. But Welch's biggest contribution may have been geographical. He convinced the band to relocate from England to Los Angeles, putting them in position to connect with Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks. Our next artist replaced one of rock's most iconic voices, and somehow turned a collapse into a comeback. Number 4. Ronnie James Dio, Black Sabbath. By 1978, Black Sabbath was in free fall. Never Say Die stalled at number 69 in the US. Some reviewers called the band tired and uninspired. Their opening act, Van Halen, was getting more attention. And after the tour, Ozzy Osbourne was fired. Tony Iommi later said the choice was simple: fire Ozzy or break the band up completely. Then came Ronnie James Dio. Dio had started in small-time bands, even playing bass and trumpet early on. Then he led Elf and became the voice and lyricist of Rainbow. By the time he joined Sabbath in 1979, he was proven, but still the outsider stepping into one of rock's most dangerous vacancies. And he didn't erase Sabbath's darkness, he redirected it. With Dio, the lyrics moved toward myth, fantasy, and cosmic struggle. Iommi said Dio gave Sabbath another angle on writing, because he sang across the riff instead of simply following it. The result was Heaven and Hell, a platinum comeback that hit number 28 in America and number 9 in the UK. The band critics thought was finished had been reborn. We're counting down 9 musicians who gave dying bands a second life. So far, Styx found its arena spark in a bowling alley. Kiss found stability without the makeup. Fleetwood Mac found the road to Los Angeles. And Black Sabbath found life after Ozzy. But the top 3 faced bigger challenges. Number 3, Michael McDonald, the Doobie Brothers. In 1975, Doobie Brothers frontman Tom Johnston was hospitalized with a severe bleeding ulcer. The band had a tour underway and suddenly needed someone who could cover vocals, play keyboards, and keep moving. Guitarist Jeff "Skunk" Baxter suggested his former Steely Dan bandmate Michael McDonald. At first, it was supposed to be temporary, background vocals, keyboards, and relief while Johnston recovered. McDonald brought soul, R&B, and jazz pop sophistication into a band built on driving guitars and Northern California boogie rock.
I keep forgetting things will never be the same again.
Guitars gave way to keyboards, horns, syncopation, and that McDonald voice. The band, once known for biker bar rock, was suddenly helping define what fans would later call yacht rock. Johnston tried to return, but health problems and the new direction sidelined him. Not every old fan loved it, but commercially, the change worked. Minute by Minute spent 5 non-consecutive weeks at number 1, and What a Fool Believes won Record of the Year and Song of the Year.
It keeps you running. It keeps you running. Yeah.
The next artist was already in the band, just not where anyone expected the new lead singer to be. Number 2, Phil Collins, Genesis. When Peter Gabriel left Genesis in 1975, they lost their theatrical face while carrying roughly 400,000 pounds in debt. Genesis auditioned hundreds, with Nick Lowe and Mick Rogers reportedly in the mix. But the whole time, their drummer, Phil Collins, was teaching auditioning singers the vocal parts. Finally, Collins tried squonk, and the band realized the answer had been sitting behind the drum kit. Collins gave Genesis what they needed, a voice close enough for Gabriel-era songs and a humor that won over audiences. Their first album without Gabriel, A Trick of the Tail, hit number 3 in the UK and helped pull them out of debt. Collins was still reluctant to leave the kit. Drumming was his territory. For the 1976 tour, Bill Bruford handled drums, while Collins returned to the kit during instrumental sections. When Steve Hackett left in 1977, Genesis became a trio, and their sound tightened. The pop shift wasn't just Collins. Banks and Rutherford were deeply involved. But Collins saved the frontman slot. The number 1 spot goes to a musician who had to replace a genius who was losing his sanity. And after number 1, stick around for a bonus pick, a band tragedy that forced an already important member to become the voice of a whole new era. Number 1, David Gilmour, Pink Floyd. By late 1967, Syd Barrett was unraveling. Reports had him strumming one chord or barely playing at all. On TV, the once brilliant frontman seemed distant, almost unreachable. By January 1968, Pink Floyd brought in David Gilmour. Not as a star, but almost like a hired hand. His job was to cover for Barrett's instability on stage. For a brief stretch, Pink Floyd even performed as a 5-piece, with both Barrett and Gilmour in the band. Then Barrett was out, and Gilmour became the stabilizing musical force they desperately needed. Nick Mason said Gilmour brought form and shape to the band's wider psychedelic material. His blues phrasing, bends, and sustain gave Pink Floyd structure, emotion, and control. Mason said Gilmour made the band far less difficult to enjoy. That presence helped move Pink Floyd toward the focused sound that made The Dark Side of the Moon possible. The hired hand became the voice and guitar soul of one of the most successful bands in history. And now, the bonus. A tragedy that nearly ended a band, and the voice that carried them forward. Bonus, Peter Cetera, Chicago. This one is different. Peter Cetera wasn't a hired replacement. He was already Chicago's bassist and one of their lead voices. But when Terry Kath died in 1978 from an accidental self-inflicted gunshot wound, Chicago lost its guitar firepower and grittiest voice. The band considered breaking up. They continued. As Chicago moved toward polished 80s pop, Cetera became the voice of that second life. Hard to Say I'm Sorry and You're the Inspiration were built around his high tenor. Kath's death could have ended Chicago. Cetera's voice helped carry them into a new era.
It's hard for me to say I'm sorry.
That's our list. 9 musicians who didn't just join a band, they rescued one. If you made it this far, you'll probably crush the Backstage Classics trivia book. It's linked below. Which save surprised you most?